Hello, everyone. This is our documentary about the American prisoners of war in Japan and how they were treated and affected during World War II. During World War II, American prisoners of war held by Japan faced harsh and often inhumane treatment. The conditions varied among different prison camps, but many prisoners of war endured overcrowded and unsanitary living conditions, minimal food, and little to no medical care. Forced labor was a common practice, with prisoners being made to work in mines, on construction projects, or in factories. One example of having little to no medical care, minimal food, and unsanitary and overcrowded living conditions was the Bataan Death March in 1942, where around 60 to 80,000 Filipino and American prisoners were forced to march over 60 miles in extreme heat with minimal food and water. Many died or were killed during this cruel journey. Prisoners of war were exposed to a lot of physical abuse, including beatings, torture, and intimidation. Interrogation methods were often brutal, and those who resisted or were suspected of lying faced severe consequences. In addition to the physical hardships, prisoners of war also faced mental and emotional challenges due to the uncertainty of their fate, the brutality of their jailers, and the harsh conditions of captivity. After the war, many former prisoners of war faced long-lasting physical and psychological effects, and their experiences became a basic part of understanding the human cost of being a World War II prisoner of war. Some of the long-lasting physical and psychological effects that former prisoners of war faced were malnutrition, diseases, and physical injuries. The harsh conditions, poor nutrition, and forced labor could lead to long-term health problems, while others often struggled with feelings of guilt, shame, and survivor's guilt. Survivor's guilt is when one thinks that they did something wrong because they survived a traumatic or tragic event. The trauma of seeing the suffering and death of fellow prisoners, as well as the harsh treatment they've endured, could leave lasting emotional scars. Many prisoners of war faced post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, from their experience of captivity, including the threat of death, physical and psychological abuse, and the overall stress of imprisonment, often resulted in PTSD. Flashbacks, nightmares, anxiety, and other symptoms could continue long after their release. I hoped you all learned a little or took something away from our documentary, and thank you for listening.